Hello and welcome to another training session of Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, brought to you by the Letter Tape. This time we're going to talk about a subject that might have caused you to pull out some of your hair, and that's building paths underwater. I don't really know if this is documented anywhere, but once we go through this you'll be able to do it. Here you can see just standard paths with some different textures, and where they're at is in paths, standard paths, and here are the textures here. So we've got things like asphalt, marble, ornate, and those are represented here. The one that we want to look at is underwater tunnel, which we can see off to the side here. This is the underwater tunnel. So here's the tunnel that we're after, and to build that, all you're doing is selecting that tile set, clicking, and then you can, if you don't already know, hold the mouse button or the cursor over the blue arrow, hold in the left mouse button, and then slide the mouse outward and towards you to raise and lower the platform. And there you go, you've got some tunnels. But suppose you don't want to have a ramp that goes up like that. What you can do is you can hold in Shift. Shift is used quite often for raising and lowering pieces of track for roller coasters, rides, or even for placing objects. So I'm holding Shift on the keyboard and I'm sliding the mouse upward, and there you go, you can see the piece is showing up and my peeps are hungry. So I'm going to let go of the mouse now, and now I can place this piece wherever I want. So I'm just going to click in there. Now at this point is where you can change the orientation. You might think, oh, I want to hit Z to rotate. If you know about Z, Z rotates pieces before you place them. This doesn't have that, because what you're doing is you're just mousing over the blue arrow for the direction you want to go. And so here you can see how a basic tunnel would be laid out. And an example of what that can end up being can be seen here. We've got, I stopped moving around, got the light's a little bad, there we go. There's a structure that's underwater, and you can see extending it is pretty much the same idea, just clicking on the blue arrow. You just may notice that this is actually going through the terrain there, and it's actually coming out this other side, or coming through this side and coming out that side. I'm not going to go over this time how to build something like that. We're going to keep it simple. So to do that, we'll click on Terrain Tools, and we'll click on the Terrain Shaping and Adjust Terrain Tiles. And I'm just going to hold in the left mouse button, pull back on the mouse, just so that I can make a recession, and then I can click on Fill with Water, fill this up. You may not want to fill the body of water first when doing this, or only fill the body of water when you're done, just because it obstructs the view, makes it a little more difficult. But I'm going to click on Paths and on Regular Path, and once again on that necessary tile set, click, click. Could have started out here with Shift and elevated that, but once you get to the edge of the water, it instantly turns to these tunnel pieces. Now hold the mouse button over the blue arrow, or position over, hold the mouse button, and now pull backwards, and now you'll see in just a moment you are now underwater with this path. Now I'm going to move it up a little bit, and this will allow flat pieces and there you go. Basically, as you can see, now building a path underwater. Paths are not considered a ride, so you don't have to have an entrance and exit for them. If you wanted to, you could have actually used this as a covered bridge over the water. One thing to note is that this is the type of body of water that you can build these into. You can't build if you go into rides and you go to swimming pools, if I was to build a swimming pool and then go back to paths and try to build this to go into the pool, it's not letting me. Even if I had this higher, tried to drop it in, it's not going to let me. These pieces just don't work together. So if you want to do this, it needs to be in this type of water. But basically that's all you have to do to make something like this with obvious extra steps, but I'll show that in another tutorial. So the main thing that you need to do is just make sure that you're in paths, regular path, and underwater tunnel. And one thing that I didn't mention, which I should have at the beginning, is that this requires, I believe, soaked or a version that has soaked. So basically you need soaked. I don't know if the other add-on packs have this ability or not, but kind of makes sense that it's soaked. Hope this helps. Enjoy.